You may have heard of Snow White, but have you heard of Snow White and Rose Red? It's a story from the Grimm's collection by a woman called Carolyn Starr. It goes something a little bit like this. Once upon a time, in a kingdom a long time ago, there was a woman, and she lived in a little cottage in the forest. Outside her front door, she had roses of red and roses of white. And inside she had two beautiful daughters who were named Snow White and Rose Red. Now these sisters loved each other very much, and they would do everything together. Snow White and Rose Red were as different as two sisters could possibly be. Snow White loved the indoors. She loved helping her mother with the cooking and the mending and all the jobs that were done inside. Rose Red, on the other hand, loved being outside. She loved the forest and running through rivers barefoot and climbing trees and picking up frogs and then releasing them back into the wild. But no matter what, the two sisters loved each other dearly. Their mother felt that they were so safe in the forest, for the forest looked after them. Wild animals would eat out of their hands. Rabbits would come and nuzzle at their feet. And one night, when they had slept late, they had gone late in the forest, they lay down on some soft moss. And in the morning, they woke up to find an angel watching over them. And lucky they did, for had they gone any further, they would have gone over a great ravine. Snow White and Rose Red were the best of friends. In the winter months, the mother would close the door and they would gather the wood and sit around telling stories around the fire, yarning, knitting, repairing things for another season. One very, very bitterly cold night, there came a knock at the door. Snow White opened the door and hid behind her mother, for a great snout came inside the door and sniffed. It said, "Do not be afraid. It is bitterly cold outside. I need somewhere to shelter. Will you shelter me?" Of course, the mother came forward with her two daughters behind her back and checked out this bear, who was as large as the door frame. And she decided that he was safe enough, and she let him come in and sit by the fire. Every night, after the sun had gone down, there was a knock at the door, and a big brown bear came and sat by the fire. And over time, Snow White and Rose Red became accustomed to this warm, fuzzy creature in their home. They even wrestled with him at times. He became their friend. As soon as the snow started to thaw and little plants sprouted out of the ground, the bear said to them, "I must go now. The ground is thawing. My treasures are buried underground, and I must watch for the evil dwarfs, the magical kind that hunt my treasures. I must protect them." And the girls said their farewells to the bear. And as he left, his fur caught on the door latch. Snow White was sure she saw a fleck of gold there. Nevertheless, the bear went out into the forest. Life continued, and springtime blossomed, and all the flowers came out, and it was time to be outside again. Rose Red was over the moon with that. She could run in the rivers, pick up the frogs, climb the trees. One day they went out collecting mushrooms, and each of them in their baskets carried all the things they needed to gather the mushrooms from the forest, when they heard a yelling from the distance. And as they got closer, they saw it was a teeny tiny man with a long beard all the way down to the ground. His beard had been stuck in a wedge in the log. He'd been chopping some wood. And he was jumping and pulling and tugging at his beard, trying to get out. "What are you looking at, you stupid girls?" he said to Snow White and Rose Red. And Snow White and Rose Red rushed over at once and tried to pull with all their might to get this beard out. But it didn't work. "Oh, you stupid girls," he said. Rose Red had an idea. She took out her scissors from the basket and snipped the beard right at the bottom. And the little man was freed. "Oh, you silly girls, what have you done? It took me 1,000 years to grow my beard that long. What have you done? You stupid dolts." And he picked up a sack of gold and put it over his shoulder and stomped off into the forest. "What an ungrateful dwarf," said Snow White. "Indeed," said Rose Red. Time passed, and the spring just grew more and more rich with green on the trees, nice breezes coming through, and intermittent rain. Girls went to the river one day to go fishing. Just in the corner of their eye, they saw what looked like a giant grasshopper jumping up and down. They went over to see what it was, and it was again the man with the long beard, the magical dwarf. His beard had got tangled in the fishing line, and a giant fish was on the other end tugging. He was holding on to himself on the ground, and the fish was pulling him in. "Oh, you stupid girls, can't you see I need help? Help me!" Of course, the girls went over and tried to untangle, but with the fish and the man and the fishing line, it was just a disaster. Snow White got out her scissors and chopped the beard about halfway down, and the little man was released. "Oh, you stupid girls," he said. "Didn't you know my beard has been growing for 500 years? Look at it!" And he picked up a bag of jewels over his shoulder and stomped off into the forest. "What an ungrateful dwarf," said Snow White. "Indeed," said Rose Red. The springtime continued and went into summer. And one sunny morning, their mother asked them to go to the next village to gather some supplies. As they were going, they came across a flat rock in the middle of the field, and the little man with now half a beard was counting his coins. "Oh, stop looking at me, you greedy girls," and he kept his jewels close. The girls continued on to the village, and then they came back later that afternoon. And on their way back, they saw a giant eagle with an arm span as long as a branch, and in its talons had the little man. His beard had been tangled in the talons. The girls at once grabbed his legs and pulled him down, trying to help him. The eagle would not let go. So Rose Red got out her scissors and cut his beard right across the chin. And he fell to the ground. "Oh, you stupid girls, what have you done? My beard is gone. I'm as bare as a baby's bottom." And the girls looked at each other. "This is the last time you'll do this." And he picked up an axe and was just about to attack the girls when out of the forest ran a big brown bear who came and knocked the dwarf to the ground. The girls ran off into the forest. Then they heard a familiar voice. "Snow White, Rose Red, it is me, your bear friend." And when they turned around to see the dwarf down on the ground dead, they saw the bear stand up, and as he stood up, the bear skin fell from his body and stood a young man in front of them. The girls were shocked. How could this be? This man in front of them. I was bewitched by this wicked dwarf and destined to remain a bear to protect my treasures. And every winter they would go away, but in spring and summer they would come out and start stealing from me again. And I was to remain a bear until he was dead. And so now I can be a man again. Now the bear prince said to the girls that he was indeed a prince, and the girls took him to their mother to reunite with her. He was so grateful for their kindness during his cold winter months that he rewarded them with treasure, but even more, he rewarded them with his presence in the cold winter months when he would come into their home and tell them stories, just like the one I told you. And this was my favourite story as a child, and I hope that you love it too.